Hey there, welcome to this week's video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about codependent relationship patterns and specifically how to heal anxious attachment. And the reason I want to focus on that style is because that is my style. So up until recently, and up until the last couple of years, I've been really stuck in an anxious attachment style in my relationships, in a lot of different relationships, but the most intense have been my romantic. And so I really know how hard it is to break out of the habits of the anxious attachment style and want to support you to do the same. Before we dive into the video, I just want to let you know that we hit 101 subscribers, meaning that we just gave away our 100 subscriber 2-hour human design reading. So we're giving away a human design reading every 50 subscribers, at least until momentum picks up in the channel a little bit more. Then it might have to be every 100 or every 200. But for right now, we're giving out our next one at the 150 subscriber mark. And this is a 2-hour human design reading. If you don't know what human design is, check out some links in the description. You can download your free 19-page human design report on their website and check it out for yourself. But it's an amazing reading, and I hope I get to do one with you. I'll be talking about that again at the end of the video. For now, let's dive in. So, codependent relationship patterns and how to heal anxious attachment style. So let's first look at what is codependency. So thinking about that, it's a co, meaning more than one person. So it takes a cooperative, it takes at least two people. And then there's a dependency between the two. So each person is dependent on the other. Now, most of the time, this word is used to describe a emotional codependence, where each person's emotional safety is dependent on the other's actions, on the other's availability, on the other's behaviors, and the other's words and actions and emotions, and that there's a requirement from one on the other that they need to behave in a certain way, or I'm not going to feel safe, for example. So that's the first step, is really understanding what is this codependency. And more importantly than that is knowing that you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You have codependency. Codependency is born when you're a child. It's ingrained into the nervous system when you didn't get the nurturing that is naturally needed, usually in the first 7 years of life. And the two main styles I'm most familiar with, I know there's other variations, I think these are the two most common attachment styles, which are anxious attachment and anxious avoidant. So both have the word anxious in it. So when there's a trigger in the nervous system, when your partner or a friend or a community or a business collaborator triggers you and there's a fear in your body, an anxiety in your body, then there's one of two main patterns that can happen. Again, I know there's other patterns. Today we're just focusing on these two. So there can be an attachment, a clinging, like to try to resolve the anxiety, like don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. Or there can be an avoidance, or running away to resolve the anxiety, like don't trap me. Now, these are usually born in your first 7 years. Like I said, it can be as simple as a thing for anxious attachment that you crawled out of the room for the first time. Your mom's on the couch behind you, and you're crawling out of the room, going into the next room. You've never crawled this far away from your mom before, and you're like you're feeling anxious. You're feeling like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you turn around to see your mom, make sure she's still there, and she got up and she's gone. Perhaps she just went to do laundry or went to run to answer the phone or just walked out of the room for a second. But in that moment, your little baby nervous system is like, oh my God, where's my mom? Where's my mom? And like, I can't go too far from people. They're going to abandon me. They're going to leave. It could be something as simple as that to, more challenging childhood patterns that happened, or more challenging parenting patterns that may have happened in your life when you were little. And for avoidance, it's the opposite. It's the overprotective parent. It's the parent who never gave their child any space to go explore, to go leave the room. So there's kind of any trigger in present day of a clinging or I don't have enough space is going to want to make that person get away and maintain their freedom. Now you can see how these two styles are complementary to each other. So if you're anxious attached, then the more you cling, the more an anxious avoidant partner is going to try to take space. And if you're anxious avoidant, the more you try to take space, the more the anxious attached person is going to cling. So again, focusing today on anxious attachment, because that's the one I have personally lived with. And I want to talk about it in two different ways. How to work with healing anxious attachment when you're single, when you're not in a romantic relationship, and then how to heal it when you are in a romantic relationship. And I want to start with single first, because there's some work on this, some healing that can be done only when you're single, and some healing that can only be done in relationship. And both are important. So when you're single, the most important thing is to build the capacity of your nervous system to be with the anxiety. When you're afraid, or when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling alone, when you're feeling like, oh my God, where are my friends? Or I don't have anything to do, and you're starting to get really fidgety. Or in the beginning of a dating process, but when you're still single and you're already noticing, you send a text and you're waiting for that reply. You're like, oh my God, why didn't that person reply yet? And there's that anxiety in your system. And your tendency might be to go to food, to go to calling a friend, to go to going out and having a drink, to in some way distract yourself from the uncomfortable situation happening in your body. So for anxious attached people, it's really important that you take the time to take a moment, even before you call someone, before you go for that food, before you go distract yourself by going to an event, to breathe in to the anxiety. Now, for me, I'll be honest with you, to really get at my anxious attachment, which was wreaking havoc in my relationships for decades, it sometimes would be anxiety, and sometimes it would be almost panic. And when I didn't use my distracting patterns, mostly food, sometimes reaching out to friends, to numb that experience, it would turn into panic. It would get more and more intense. But this is the thing. Your nervous system has forgotten in those moments that you're safe. It really believes you're not safe. It really believes you're not okay. And it really believes you need someone outside of you or something outside of you to help create your safety. So in those moments, it's about retraining your nervous system and reclaiming that you can create your own safety. Now, for me, what that looked like was taking really long walks, getting away from the refrigerator, leaving my wallet at home, and going for at least an hour away from the house. So I knew I had to walk an hour back. Now, it might not be that extreme for you, but walking was a really good experience for me, because it allowed me to be with my body and be in my body, because I had to be walking. So I wasn't like sitting and getting depressed into the couch and sinking into the couch or running to food or watching YouTube. I was moving my body and breathing into the experience. And I would take out my phone and think about calling someone I was walking, and I would just resist that urge and keep breathing and keep breathing. This isn't a rocket science solution. It's not. And the mind might want something more complicated, but the real solution is about being with yourself in those moments. Can you let your body regulate on your own without needing anything or anyone else? So that's a practice I really, really recommend. I did that for 4 to 6 months, no, probably like 3 to 4 months straight after our breakup. And it really, really helped me shift things. And I'm already seeing that shift really unfolding as I'm exploring dating again. And it's been really, really amazing. Which brings me to the second piece, how to heal anxious attachment when you're in a relationship. So doing the work while you're single to actually start to rewire your nervous system and remind your nervous system that you're safe in moments you don't feel safe. Deep belly breaths, when I was going for the walk, deep breaths into the lower belly, into the lower dantian, to really, that's a signal to the nervous system that you're safe, because you're breathing into the root chakra, the safety chakra, and calming the nervous system down, bringing it from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And also, sometimes when I would sit still in the experience when I felt like I was strong enough to not distract myself. I wouldn't go for a walk. But that's really the main healing. If you just do that, if that's your one takeaway from this video, and you do it consistently and you practice it for moments when you can and for an hour when you can, but the more you practice that every day, I promise you, it's going to shift. And I'm speaking from an embodied experience. So then, in relationship with that foundation, with the foundation of doing that work while you're single and reminding yourself that you are capable of creating your own safety, you're going to attract a different kind of relationship naturally. And in that relationship, it's really important that you continue the practice. That's why it's so important to start when you're single, to build the foundation, so that when you have someone that you're really interested in and your heart's opening and you're putting your heart on the line and some of those old abandonment wounds are coming up, that you are able to have that foundation of practice to practice while you're in the relationship. So noticing the triggers, noticing if certain communication styles trigger you, and notice how you want to cling to the person or have them be the one to make you feel better. Have them send you a text or them do something different or them be more emotionally available or something to make you feel safe. And to do the practice to regulate your own nervous system first. Journaling helps me a lot. I journal what my mind is saying until I can work out like what is actually true. Because a lot of the things your mind is saying aren't true. And then when you have regulated your own nervous system from a regulated place, to also remember that it's okay to have a need and ask for a need. The question is, or a desire or a need. The question is, am I asking for this thing that is really important to me and is a need in this relationship from a place of not feeling safe and needing them to save me? Or am I asking it from a centered, regulated place and it's still a need? That I don't need them to meet the need, but I need someone to meet that need. It may not be them. And really just getting clear on what's true within you. And also, noticing what happens if you're noticing a codependent pattern showing up with this person, that remembering codependency takes two. So if it's showing up within you, it's likely showing up within the other person. Usually it's the opposite style. Usually, not always, but sometimes the styles flip-flop. But if you're feeling anxious attached, the other person's likely maybe feeling anxious avoidant. And making sure there's a line of communication and you're not afraid to bring up when you're noticing certain patterns coming up. Not maybe at the beginning of the relationship, but as things get deeper. And noticing, does this person have the communication capacity and the emotional capacity to be observant of their own patterns? Because that's going to be really key to work on this in a relationship. And those are the two big tips. Before this video gets too long, I'm going to end it there, but I'll probably do more videos on this topic because it is such a topic of breadth and depth. And it's so important because, I'm starting to experience what it's like to feel safe in a spacious relationship without the clinging that I was so used to for so many years. And it is amazing. And I want for you to. But hopefully this helped. Please leave any questions or comments below the video. I'm going to answer each one. And back to the giveaway. So a human design reading is a really powerful tool to help you connect to the wisdom of your body and help you build the capacity to be in your body, which is going to help you build your capacity to regulate your nervous system. So I'm giving away, we give a 2-hour reading away every 50 subscribers right now. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to our channel, leave a comment below, and the more videos you comment on, the more chances you have to win. So hope to see you in the comments, hope to see you at a reading, and hope you're having a beautiful day.